Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Thrilled to have you with us. Here's how you can take part in the show. You can give us a ring on the Renewal by Anderson fan phone at 844-326-3663 and on the text line at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. Jam-packed show today. Are you guys ready to rock? You ready to have some fun? Here's what we've got coming up. Best and worst deals of free agency. Best and worst of our state. Conference tournament predictions. Luke Easterling joins us. NFL free agency, NFL draft. What questions do you have? Get them in now. We'll ask them to Luke at 4 o'clock p.m. How would you make college basketball better? We go inside the numbers to show you that, yes, stats are like bikinis. They show some things, but not all. But in this case, they show a whole lot. What position in the NFL offers the highest rate of drafting success in the first round? We've got the top 5 at 5. We've got Truth Serum, and we have you here on the most interactive sports radio show anywhere. So pumped to be here today and thrilled to have you guys with us. So, my friends, this to me is interesting. And it's interesting because the Carolina Panthers have made a play here, okay? They've made a play. They have traded Dante Jackson for Deontay Johnson. How many people do you think tripped up on that?
How many pundits do you think will be saying the wrong name all season long?
Dante Jackson, Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson, Pittsburgh Steelers, is a couple years removed, Diesel, from a 1,000-yard season. This last season, he had his worst year for Pittsburgh. They're dumping him. He is going to be a 6th-year vet heading into this year. But even then, he produced 717 yards. Is considered that, he's going to be a huge help to Carolina's passing offense. They did have some locker room issues with him in Pittsburgh. I always cringe when I see that, man. Locker room issues. Like, you're getting paid $1 million or more, but you're a millionaire. How can you possibly have locker room issues? What can you possibly have to complain about, right? So Deontay Johnson coming to Carolina in exchange for Dante Jackson, cornerback. To me, what is also really interesting, and this bothers me so badly, and I don't want to do the same topic to start the show 2 days in a row, but you guys are aware, right, that Carolina signed the best guard on the market, Robert Hunt from the Miami Dolphins. 5 years, $100 million. Here's what Albert Breer said about it. Was expected that Robert Hunt would be the highest paid free agent guard and that the market for the position would be strong. But $20 million per year exceeds anything I saw. The Panthers paying to help Bryce Young. Good gosh, man. Does Carolina ever get the better end of anything? You know, like $20 million a year exceeds anything that he thought would this guy would get, you know? Then I am reading the trade grade. Deontay Johnson. Here we go. I did it, Diesel. Deontay Johnson for Dante Jackson. Trade grade. For the Carolina Panthers, the trade grade is a B. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, the trade grade is an A. Good God. Does this team ever get the better end of any deal that they make at any time? Okay, at any time. Now guess what's going on? The Carolina Panthers prominently featured at Xavier Legette's Pro Day. All right, South Carolina. Everyone and their mother knows that Carolina wants Xavier Legette in the first round. There are tweets out today that say it is not expected that Xavier Legette will be drafted before Carolina picks, and that Carolina loves the Gamecock wide receiver. Guys, what does that tell you? He's not going to be picked before Carolina's picked. The love affair is so strong that anybody who wants Xavier Legette knows who that Carolina wants, can easily go right ahead and grab him. and you're getting a guy that's not going to go before your selection. Again, value, right? Like, what are we doing, Carolina, with value? Why is it that there is never, ever a deal where you guys win? You guys win. Oh, in addition to the Deontay Johnson, Dante Jackson deal, Carolina gets the 240th pick in the draft, and Pittsburgh gets the 178th pick in the draft. So Pittsburgh gets a starting cornerback and a better draft pick. Carolina gets a part-time wide receiver and a worse draft pick. Guys, at some point, people have to be willing to help themselves. You know what I mean? Have any of you ever had like a son or a daughter, a child, like you're doing everything you possibly can for them, but the son or daughter just will not get out of their own way? At some point, you got to cut the cord. At some point, you got to say, man, help me help you do something. I've done all for you that I possibly can. Carolina just won't do that. And I like Deontay Johnson. And I think he does have a fit on this particular team. By the way, do you see the shift going on right now, Carolina, from defensive spending to offensive spending? I mean, in this very trade, you are shipping out defensive spending for offensive spending. What did you do? Brian Burns and Robert Hunt. Out goes defensive spending. In comes offensive spending. The Pittsburgh Steelers are second in the NFL in defensive spending. They are what they are. They spend a lot of money on the defensive side of the ball. Pittsburgh does. They're a gritty team. They're a hard-nosed team. They're never really progressive offensively. Carolina wants to be progressive offensively. Problem for the Carolina Panthers is Dave Canales, new Carolina Panthers head coach, told us when he joined us here on Offsides that the first order of business is not to mess with the defense. We've already got a great defense. We want to keep it that way. My belief is they didn't have a great defense. My belief is the defensive numbers were inflated because teams really packed it in because they didn't have to do much. You know, you could beat Carolina 20-10. You didn't have to do much. Why are you going to throw the ball all over the field? You know, just run 3 times and punt in the second half. Carolina can't score. I think that kind of thing inflates defensive numbers, and I think that's what you saw last year. Ladies and gentlemen, let's open today with this. What are the best and worst deals that you have seen thus far in free agency? The best and worst trades, the best and worst contracts handed out, the best and worst that you have seen in general. Do not feel bad. Do not worry. We will ask Luke Easterling this question at 4:00 p.m. this afternoon as well. Deals I like. Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold, 1 year, $10 million. Great. He's a bridge guy. It has a chance to be more than that. You gave Sam Darnold a Baker Mayfield prove-it deal. And now you get to see, is he ready to be the guy? If not, now when? Sam Darnold is 2024's Baker Mayfield, the guy with the most on the line. Sam Darnold takes the Vikings to the playoffs this year, a la Baker Mayfield. If he does a few things better than Kirk Cousins, he next year is signing a 3-year $100 million deal that Baker Mayfield got. The Eagles are bringing back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Florida Gator, 3 years up to $33 million on that particular year. 49ers signed defensive end Leonard Floyd, 2 years, $24 million. One of the best deals I've seen, folks, thus far. Texans not only trade for Joe Mixon, upgrading their running game, they also agree to terms on defensive end Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter, 16.5 sacks this last year. Double-digit sacks 4 of the last 5 years. 2 years, $49 million. You get him for under the $30 million a year asking price, calling card for elite defensive ends. Houston, Danielle Hunter, man, that, my friends, is an absolutely positively slam dunk move.
You know, I hear that Danielle is more than just a river in Egypt.
Danielle, there you go. I think that's my line. Hey, let's see here. Other good deals, guys. Good deals, bad deals. What do you see? What do you like? Derrick Henry, great deal. Baltimore Ravens, 2 years, $20 million with incentives. Love Josh Jacobs going to the Green Bay Packers in the prime of his career. 4 years, $48 million. The best running backs, right? The best running backs are getting about $12 million a year. That is the going rate for that position. Where do you guys think T. Higgins ends up? Where do you think? He's got the franchise tag, 1 year, $22 million, $21.82 million from Cincinnati, but wants to be traded. Where does he end up? Carolina right now, all in on wide receivers. All in on wide receivers. But I believe there is every chance right now they can shoot for the stars and T. Higgins. A great fallback option could be Michael Gallup of the Dallas Cowboys, who has received permission to seek a trade. And I think you shoot for the stars with T, you settle for Michael Gallup. You're trying to piece together who's going to be your number one wide receiver next year. You still have Jonathan Mingo that you're bringing back.
And Thielen.
Thielen coming back, allegedly. I have a hard time seeing that, Diesel. I do. I just have a hard time seeing that. I just don't know. New regime, older wide receiver. I know he's under contract. I don't know.
Maybe having 2 or 3 number 2s is better than having one number 1 and no number 2s.
Yeah.
That's where the Carolina Panthers were last year. Everybody and their brother knew that the ball was going to Adam Thielen. Every big play. Everyone knew that. So maybe spreading this around and not having that single elite guy actually adds up to more down the line. You know, you spread the love a little bit.
Diesel, in terms of the guards that were free agents, and again, back to this Carolina Panthers thing, Robert Hunt was regarded as the best guard available. Okay? But listen to the other amounts that these guards signed for. Okay? Robert Hunt, Carolina Panthers, $100 million. Number 2 guy, $53 million. Number 3 guy, $51 million. Number 4 guy, $48 million. Number 5 guy, $30 million. There's only one other guy that's making half as much as what the Carolina, when you suck so bad, Diesel, you've got to give contracts like that just to get anybody.
They're the negotiator that screws up and goes up in price. Like their job is to make it come down. It's Hunt's job to make the price go up. But they did the old duck season, wabbit season thing. And the Panthers said, okay, I'll be your Huckleberry. I'll give you 5 years when everybody else is offering 2 or 3.
They're paying for how bad they've been. Like they have to pay for that. And that is a really, really rough and sad place to be. 844-326-3663 is the number to get to us on the Renewal by Anderson fan phone. And you can hit us on the text line at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. Patrick Queen, Pittsburgh Steelers, 3 years, $41 million. Again, I think one of the best deals. Frankie Louvu, Carolina Panthers, signs with the Commanders, 3 years, $31 million. He gets his money. He gets his $10 million plus per year. And Washington improves significantly at that particular position. You have a hustler. You get a baller. You get somebody who was one of the main reasons why Carolina was so good on that side of the ball last year. Yeah, the 3 best players on Carolina's defense a year ago: Derek Brown, Brian Burns, Frankie Louvu. You're now down 2 of the 3. 2 of the 3. I sure hope this team knows how to score 28 plus points a game to win some games.
The Carolina Panthers are sitting right now at 11th in 2024 free agent spending. Budget right now $45.25 million. When you look at the numbers of the top teams here, the Buccaneers are spending just shy of $80 million a year. The Patriots $75, Texans $73 million in 2024. I mean, the Carolina Panthers don't have the money really at the moment to go out and put a whole lot of money into free agency. I think last I saw against the cap, they had about $25 million in cap space. So they don't really have a ton of money. Maybe they could go get a T. Higgins type of receiver, but you can only really afford to pay him for 1 year.
It'll be fascinating to see how they go. How do you find yourself in the position, ladies and gentlemen? How do you find yourself in the position of having no cap room and not a very talented roster? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. All right, my friends, coming up next, we go from talking best and worst of NFL free agency to best and worst of South Carolina, and I'll explain the assignment when Offsides continues. Right after this, here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere, Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Great to have you guys with us. Truly do appreciate you guys making us part of your day. This is rumor season in the NFL, man. We got a ton of fun stuff going on. We've got people texting us all these bogus rumors. It's up to us to determine which is true and which is not. Texter says, Mark, a little birdie said Tepper is opening up his checkbook. Yeah, but he's not spending wisely, Texter. They can afford to pay some free agents having a second-year quarterback. That's how you win in the NFL, right? You get Brock Purdy has literally the cheapest deal you could ever have for a starter. Last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant. Texter says, bad move for Deontay Johnson, though. Well, maybe not. Maybe he gets back to being a 1,000-yard wide receiver. Texter says, best move, Falcons and Kirk Cousins. Worst move, Vikings and Sam Darnold. This texter is an Atlanta Falcons fan saying this. They paid $45 million a year for a 35-year-old Kirk Cousins. They're that desperate to be relevant.
He ain't Peyton Manning.
I think Sam Darnold at $10 million a year is going to post very similar numbers to Kirk Cousins at 45. Texter says, no way my Bengals trade T unless they get the Tyreek Hill type of trade. Too many wide receivers in this draft for anyone to overpay. Well, I think they should trade T. Higgins. He doesn't want to be there. We
saw what happened with Brian Burns in 2023. Rumors are he shut himself down and essentially gave them partial effort. If you're not going to pay me, you're not getting 100% of me. And then ultimately it cost the Panthers in the back end. They had to pay him for peanuts.
Right.
Sell him for peanuts.
That's it. So, guys, best and worst of free agency. Your best, your worst are welcome. 71307 on the text line. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. I also want to get to this. We have done this. We have done a version of this, but I like to tweak things and give you guys a lot of freedom, a lot of license to play around with this as you so choose. Okay. Every time we do this, I learn something new about our state. Every single time we do this, I learn something new about our state. All right. I want to challenge you guys now on the show to, you have the power. Okay. And you might remember, Mark, when was the last time you did this? All right. Diesel gave us the idea. I think somebody asked Josh Pate, hey, what tradition would you add to college football? And Josh Pate said, I would have Gloria Estefan saying the rhythm is going to get you at Miami Hurricanes games. And Diesel said, Mark, I have an idea. What if we gave the audience a chance to steal a college football tradition? All right. So we did that and it worked. Steal your favorite tradition. We have done this in this market for getting rid of a pro sports team and then giving you guys the chance to save it. Today, what I want to do, okay, and I open it up to you guys, and you guys always do a fantastic job of participation on this, and I know today is going to be no different. What I want to do today is You can get rid of anything South Carolina based, anything in our state that you have had it with. Okay. It can be a team. It can be a city. It can be anything having to do with our state.
I've already got mine.
And then what our audience has a chance to do is save it. Okay. What you have a chance to do is save it. Now, now the rules are that we're going to do this for a couple of segments. All right. And then we're going to track, what's been removed, what's been saved. Diesel, do we have a pen or a paper anywhere so we can kind of track this to finalize, where are we? What has been permanently jettisoned from the state of South Carolina? What about Henry McMaster? Does anyone want to get rid of Henry forever?
And Governor Foghorn Leghorn?
And if so, would anybody save him save him from himself? I have in front of me right now, this is interesting, the worst city in the state of South Carolina. Okay. I haven't decided yet if this is what I'm getting rid of, but the worst city in the state of South Carolina is called Lancaster. Or Lancaster. Thank you. It has a poverty rate of 36%. These people are too po for the OR. Okay. The state average is 14.5%. Lancaster, 36%. The median home value in Lancaster is $163,000. The state home value is $182,000. The median household income. Wow, Diesel. $29,738. It's like they work in radio or something, isn't it? $29,738 is the median household income. The state average is twice that. The state average is $58,000 median household income. Drug-induced mortality. The rate is 51 deaths per 100,000 people. The state average is 33,000 drug-induced death per 100,000 people. And the total population is 8,489. How are 8,489 people getting in this much trouble? I mean, I'm serious. How are they getting in this much trouble with this poverty rate, this median home value, this median household income, this rate of drug-induced mortality?
Clearly, they're not going to work.
Right?
They're doing drugs and they're dying.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So should my flushing of the state of South Carolina, my one thing, my one get out of jail free card, everybody gets one. You guys already, I know you offsiders, you are greedy. You're going to be trying to get 3. You're going to be trying to get 4. That's not how we roll. Everybody gets 1. Okay. You can get rid of one thing, anything having to do with the state of South Carolina. You can get rid of the state flag. You can get rid of the South Carolina High School League. Okay. You can get rid of the chute that you drive when you go to Charlotte. You can get rid of one thing, Palmetto State based, and somebody has a chance to save it if they so desire. 71307 on the text line is where to get to us. We give precedence always to ladies first, and we give precedence to phone calls on the Renewal by Anderson fan phone at 844-326-3663. That's 844-FAN phone is the number you can get to us. Now, Diesel, you look over there like you are chomping at the bit. Are you ready to go with your jettisoning of something? You were.
I was. And then a listener did it for me. A texter did it for me. So now I got to go to plan B. And I haven't quite come up with my plan B yet.
Oh, so he got yours before you did. Before you did.
It just shows that this thing really sucks and that people really want to get rid of it.
All right. You guys have the power right now to get rid of anything South Carolina based. Okay. Anything South Carolina based. 71307 on the text line. I believe also, Diesel, we've done get rid of a South Carolina town before.
Yeah.
I wanted to find today what is the worst town here. I just gave you the 411, the description on what is the absolute worst. Diesel, on the text line right now, a texter says, get rid of squatted trucks. Was that yours?
That was mine.
Can you describe to me what this is?
Yeah, it's a style of changing the suspension angle of your truck. It's called the Carolina squat. And what they do is they put a big lift on the front and then they squat the back so that your truck, as you're driving down the road, is pointed nose to the sky, face down, ass up, that old thing.
Yeah.
That's how they do it.
That's the way we like to.
Yeah.
That's why we like to truck.
Yeah,
right.
That's right. And so it's very dangerous. Obviously, you can't see over the hood of the vehicle very much. It's stupid. It's really, really rough on your vehicle's suspension components because they're not meant to be, riding at that angle. It's just bad all the way around. But it's a trend. It's like anything. You tell a kid not to do something, he wants to do it more.
My old man and I were at Smith and James earlier today, Diesel, and we came across this. Should this be allowed? My old man is in the background. Should that be allowed? It is so low. It is so low. It is literally. My dad said. My dad is looking at the car and he's like, "That's a sweet ride." And he goes, "But aren't
is that a Continental?
Every single time do you go when you pull into a driveway? Do you hear your bottom of your car?
That's scrape? A Lincoln Continental, isn't it?
It is.
It's a sweet car.
It is. He said the same thing.
Yeah.
He said the same thing.
Yeah, squatted. Well, a good thing about on a lowrider car like that, you can put it on airbags and you can raise it right up.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to do like Dr. Dre used to do in the videos, where he would really bump the car up and down. Hang on, I'm trying to get you some Dr. Dre.
All right, we're finding it. But your texts are coming in now early and often.
You remember when the car would just do this?
Oh, yeah.
Just bouncing the video. The hydraulics. You don't have to do that. You could just lift the whole thing up on airbags.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys listening on the stream, you can't hear this because that's content match.
Right.
We can't put that. I mean,
that's true.
I don't think you can legally drive down the street listening to this song in a vehicle at its normal height. You have to drop it.
But be jealous, people on the stream, because Diesel and I are bumping to Dr. Dre right now. We most certainly are. All right, guys. So, Diesel, are we ready with pen and paper to keep track? Because
I'm already doing it.
The texts are flying in. Here we go. Squatted trucks. Texter says, miss me with Beamer's attitude problem. Okay. So this texter is getting rid of, are you getting rid of texter Shane Beamer or Shane Beamer's attitude? Okay. Beamer's attitude. Now remember, you're listening to this right now. I'll have you know, Beamer's attitude can be saved if you would like it to be saved.
Can it though?
Texter says he would absolutely keep Henry McMaster. So says Seminole Ted. But Seminole Ted, this is not what the segment is about, sir. The segment is about you have the power to get rid of something that is South Carolina based. Texter says whiplashing potholes. Texter, I can confirm right now that not a single soul is going to save that. Okay. Not a single soul is going to say, no, man, I'm down with the whiplashing potholes.
I like swerving into oncoming traffic just to miss a pothole that I pass every single day.
Seminole Ted says, listen to this. He's getting rid of all of the anti-gambling laws. So he's legalizing gambling in the state of South Carolina. Okay, getting rid of those. You're able to get rid of something. Is someone going to save the anti-gambling laws? Texter says, let's get rid of 85 construction already. It's like a middle school project. Just turn in what you got. This is hilarious. Just turn in what you got. You've been working long enough. You know what I mean?
Why is it that there are always dump trucks and skid steers and all the stuff out there, but there's never any people out there working on the road?
Never.
Like all the equipment is there.
No.
Did they all just get raptured and we don't know about it?
But they keep the death path.
Yeah.
That is the chute. They keep that there.
Uh-huh.
That never goes anywhere. And like you're saying a prayer before you go into that thing every single time. It's 10 minutes of the most harrowing experience of your life. I got to tell you, my old man who is now visiting me, okay, he said, my old guys, just realize this. We've been all over. I've moved 18 times. Over the course of my life, I've lived in New York, Texas, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. My old man tells me that stretch of road is the worst he's ever seen. Okay? And he says it's not just the chute, it's that the road winds everywhere without warning, is that like the pavement is uneven randomly without warning. And then you got all these cones and weird exits. And it, like, he's like, this might be the worst stretch of road I've ever seen. It's what my old man says. All right, my friends. So each and every one of you, you have the power to get rid of something South Carolina based. We will update you on what you guys have rid yourselves of. You will have a chance to save something that you want saved. If you are so inclined, we will update you on all that's come in. We will reveal our own when we come back here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Great to have you guys with us here on the show. We're giving you the unprecedented power to get rid of something South Carolina based that you don't want to deal with anymore. Now, check this out. We've got a couple more coming in on the text line. Diesel's keeping a running tally of what's active. A texter says, get rid of our governor. Henry McMaster has now officially been booted from the state of South Carolina. What is palmetto cheese?
Do you mean pimento cheese?
Oh, he
texter.
said,
what is palmetto? Yeah, what is palmetto
I think
cheese?
He meant pimento cheese. Texter says, get rid of gambling in the lottery. The SC education lottery does nothing for education, or else we would not be last. Arg. Texter says, outlaw malfunction junction. Okay, 85 Highway 20 in Cloverleaf in Columbia. That's malfunction junction. Okay, guys, are you ready? Because those are the guys. Realize that as of this moment, Henry McMaster is cooked. Unless one of you saves him, okay, you can take him out of the oven because he's done. All of these things can be saved. Diesel, what is the updated list of things people have gotten rid of? These are the only things that are eligible to be saved right now.
Yeah, so several people have said squatted trucks. Now, we have several messages that have come in that have informed us that squatted trucks are illegal in the state of South Carolina. The Carolina squat is illegal. The law has been passed. Texter here says, on the Carolina squat, the first offense is a warning. The second offense is a $100 fine. The third offense is a $300 fine and a 1-year suspension of the driver's license. Then texter, why do we see it so much? Why do we still see it? We've been over this many times.
Yeah, we
especially
have.
in my town where I live, Malden, nobody enforces anything. I've never seen anybody pulled over for speeding. I've never seen somebody pulled over for blowing through a red light. I've never seen somebody pulled over for having a headlight or a tail light out. Nobody gets pulled over for anything in Malden. I don't know how it is where you live. I don't know about your towns. They may enforce the laws. But apparently in Malden, they don't have anybody to enforce the laws. I've even seen somebody blow a red light in front of a cop.
Oh gosh, Diesel, I gotta bring you into this, man. I saw something last week that, like, the brazenness and the ridiculousness of this blew me away. You know how I told you, Diesel, like, I got multiple tickets when I was in Houston, multiple, and I've gotten nothing here, nothing. And it's like, well, the truth usually lies somewhere in the middle, right? I saw somebody, Diesel, the other day drive in the middle of the day. Okay, this was on Wade Hampton. Okay, on Wade Hampton Boulevard.
Busy road.
Right. Wade Hampton Boulevard. The guy, Diesel, goes on the wrong side of the road, okay, in his truck to go over the median that he has to like it's a curb.
Yeah.
So he's driving on the wrong side of the road to go on over a median to get onto the right side of the road. And I looked at him and I said, I don't think that's how that works. I don't think you get to be so lazy to say, you know what, man, screw this light. I'm just going to start crossing the wrong side of the road, go to a median, hit the curb, have my truck go over the curb to get to the right side of the road. Diesel, I've never seen anything like that.
That is one of the great benefits, though, to having a lifted truck, is you don't have to worry about scratching up and knocking off body panels if you're popping curbs.
That's it.
So there is a benefit to that. Let's see. This one came in from Madcraft on the YouTube chat. He says, get rid of Bike Week. Texter says, Shane Beamer's attitude, anti-gambling laws, the I-85 construction. So what do you mean here when you say the I-85 construction, get rid of it? Does that mean you just want all the construction vehicles to go away and the road would stay the same?
Yeah.
Because technically, by saying you want to get rid of I-85 construction, what you really mean is I want the construction to be finished.
Yeah.
Well, that's adding something. That's not taking something away. You're adding a whole lot of labor and materials and workforce to get the job done. I understand what you mean.
I like our texter saying this is like a middle school homework project. Just turn in your work. Okay. Okay. Cut the crap. Whatever you've done now is all you're going to do. Turn in your work. All right. There you go. Diesel, yeah. I'm going to flex our muscles here, and I'm going to say, you and I, perks of the job, if we want, we get 2. Here's my 2. All right. And I'm getting rid of a place that I've never seen before. But because you guys have so aptly described it to me, I don't need to go. Like, going there would be a waste of a day of my life. I don't need to go. Dirty Myrtle is gone, Diesel. It's gone. I don't need to go to this sweatbox hellhole of just nothing but touristy, chintzy crap. I don't need to do it. Okay.
Yeah. There are nice beaches. There are secluded beaches that you guys have informed me of in time. I know I've been to beaches like Dirty Myrtle before. Okay. I don't need to go there. This is not a tourist destination for the state of South Carolina. This is an eyesore. Okay. This is a money pit. Nobody likes this. Mm-hmm. Nobody likes this deal at all. And Diesel, I got one more. Sure.
This is insane. And anytime I have anybody come to this state to visit me, every single time they see this, they say the same thing. All right. And there's a lot of these that exist. When I am getting onto and off of my exit onto the interstate, okay, so I'm merging onto I-85 to get onto the interstate. I have exactly 30 yards to get off of and merge into the lane, or I'm right off on the exit.
Is this the one off Lawrence Road?
Not Lawrence Road.
I know exactly the one you're talking about.
Not only Diesel is that there, but at the same time as you're realizing you got 30 yards to get over, you got people getting off of that exit in front of you.
Yeah.
So it's like you've got this combination of you are effed hitting right in your face. And I never told you this, Diesel, but coming here about 6 months ago, somebody goes in front of me at the last second. I have to swerve off the road. I end up skidding into a grassy median and almost hitting a service truck. And I ended up stopped in the middle of the road because I'm trying to get over. Someone's trying to get off on that exit. Whoever designed this, like, I would like to have a word with you, please, sir, because I imagine there was about 10 people living here when you designed this. How have you not fixed this with now 400,000 people living here?
Yeah.
That to me, is that what's called malfunction junction? What is malfunction junction? Because that is the greatest cluster of malfunction junction I've ever seen. Do any of you guys know what I'm talking about? You're going from Lawrence Road and you're getting on I-85 heading north. Okay. So you're Lawrence Road, I-85 heading north to Spartanburg. Bro, you've got 30 yards to get over, or you're right back off on your exit. Plus, you feel like Chevy Chase in European Vacation. Yeah. Hey, look, kids, Big Ben. Yep. Big Ben, round and around we go. Can't get over. I can't get left. I can't get left.
In regards to the Carolina squat, see, Brandon Burnett on the YouTube channel says, I want to start the Carolina lean and lift just one side. And I said, you must not have seen What's Eating Gilbert Grape, because Mama was able to achieve the lean just by eating more. So she didn't have to change her suspension at all.
Right.
Yeah, smart move. Let's see. Nathan Green says, I'm getting rid of the Clemson radio station. Ooh, shots fired from the texter here.
Mike Diesel, ironically, I have no issue with that. I have no issue. I have no need to save that. No need
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Michael Dean says that we are mispronouncing, and I think you said it right the first time. So excuse me. See, I'm from North Carolina. We have a Lancaster in North Carolina, but here it's pronounced Lancaster.
Lancaster. I
Lancaster.
think I did that right. I thought I did it right.
Okay.
And I thought you were correcting
Lancaster.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought you were correcting me. All right, guys.
I didn't give mine yet.
I want to hear.
I didn't give mine yet. Well, we still have a few to get to. We got Potholes, Clemson's Rock, Henry McMaster, and Palmetto Cheese. The texter says Palmetto Cheese is a brand of pimento cheese here in South Carolina. I've got two. Number one on my list, because a lot of mine were already taken. Okay, so I got to get creative here. Number one is the state park fee. Why do I have to have cash every single time I want to go to one of South Carolina's beautiful state parks? We have a lot of them around here. Why do I have to have cash to go to these things? Like in other states, your state taxes pay for these things. You can look at it and say, well, people in the state who go to these parks are the ones who pay to maintain and upkeep the parks. And in a way, that feels fair, right? It's a service you're using, so you pay for it. But like, come on with this fee. It's like $3 a person. So you gotta guess at what the fee is going to be. You got to have exact change because they'll never give you any. You got to fill out this little envelope thing, drop your cash in there, punch the little sticker out so you can say what time you came through the park. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. We got to stop with this. Just put it on my taxes or put up a damn card reader. Like, it's really not that difficult. And then I'm going with oysters. People around the state love to eat oysters, and I think that is disgusting. They are the boogers of the sea, okay? We got to stop doing oysters. Steam them, grill them, fry them. They're all nasty. I don't care. Oysters are gross. An extra added benefit for me, you get rid of all the oysters in the state. You get rid of the oyster shell processing plant in Malden that is directly across the street from the water treatment plant. So you drive through one area, Malden Road, right over there next to Conisty. It smells at one time exactly like wastewater and oysters on a hot summer day. It's awful. We got to cool it with that.
The other thing with oysters is they're not an aphrodisiac.
No.
When I have oysters,
no one's ever been horny with oysters.
I don't feel like getting down. I feel like throwing up, when I have oysters. Can we stop with this false rumor? That was the greatest marketing ploy ever. Hey, are you in the mood? Have some oysters.
Yeah.
No, man. I mean, are you in the mood when you're retching?
Do you guys know the escargot makes it bigger?
I mean, I'm sure we can do that with anything.
See me, I've got a snail farm in the back.
Clemson fans, are you cool with Howard's Rock being eliminated forever? Because right now it is, and no one has stepped up to save it. I am eliminating Dirty Myrtle forever, and I've never been there, and I don't have to go. I know enough. I've seen enough. I've seen pictures. I've heard you guys. I'm not wasting a day of my life going to that hellhole. Forget it. It's not going to happen. All right? Some of the road situations here, guys, I will never understand for the life of me. Why are you guys taking an income tax out of my check? What is my income tax being used for? A natural answer would be roads. Why then do we have the worst roads I've ever seen? In Florida, I had no income tax, good roads. In Texas, I had no income tax, good roads. Like, why here do I have an income tax, but the worst roads? Like, make it make sense. Help me understand what we're talking about here. Texter says, I save oysters immediately, you heathen. You heathen. He saves them immediately. All right, guys. What we're going to do, okay, Diesel, can you give us the list of everything right now that is on the chopping block?
Yes.
Give people a chance to save if they haven't done so already. What is that list?
Yes. Squatted trucks, bike week, Shane Beamer's attitude, the anti-gambling laws, I-85 construction, potholes, Clemson's Rock, Henry McMaster, Palmetto cheese, oysters, the state park fee. Yours were Myrtle Beach and
the Lawrence Road merge, which exists in a few places in the upstate. Is that what's called Malfunction Junction? Do any of you guys know what I'm talking about? That Lawrence Road merge onto I-85 north to Spartanburg? Worst thing I've ever seen. And the first time I ever saw it, I was moving here in my Penske truck. and I had to navigate that in a Penske truck, and I never saw it before. And I'm like, well, what a way to treat the new guy, man. Are you kidding me with this? All right, we've got our guy Luke Easterling joining us next on NFL Draft, NFL Free Agency. Get your questions in. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. And we are the Fan Upstate. What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Thrilled to have you guys with us. Could not do it without you. We appreciate you oh so very, very much. Well, guys, free agency is in full swing, which means draft hype and draft talk is as well, and just around the corner. And we said to ourselves, who better to have on to dish on all of the above with us, answer all of your questions, which you have a chance to get in with right now. 71307 on the text line is where you guys can get to us with your questions. Our guy, our football guy, Luke Easterling, Athlon Sports, on Twitter at the same name, at Luke Easterling, joins us right now on Offsides. All right, Luke, from what you've seen thus far, what are your best and worst deals of free agency?
Best and worst deals. I'm so biased down here as a Bucs guy, right? But what Jason Light has done as the general manager of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go into this offseason really with a murderer's row of free agents to have to keep, right? You got to try to keep Mike Evans from hitting the market. You got to try to keep your quarterback situation stable with Baker Mayfield, knowing he's going to have suitors out there. Mike would have had the same. Levante David, Antoine Winfield Jr., even the kicker, Chase McLaughlin, who had the best kicking season they've ever had in Bucs history. And you know how bad kicking has been down here at times. So that's pretty important. So to go 5 for 5 with those and to keep those guys, he'll have a long-term deal for Winfield here in place of the franchise tag soon. He'll have a long-term deal with Tristan Wirfs, the left tackle, soon. I think the Bucs have knocked this offseason out of the park without having to add anybody else, just to kind of keep their stability going. I really like what Houston has done, the Texans, what they've done for their defensive front, bringing in Danico Autry and then Danielle Hunter, adding just more firepower to that DeMeco Ryans defense. We got Will Anderson Jr. already. You got Derek Stingley Jr. What an ascending team that Houston has right now, and I really like how they've added in free agency. I don't know about bad deals, but is anybody awake in Dallas? I don't know if they understand that the league year free agency doesn't just start right now, which it just did officially, but they were allowed to. They're allowed to not just lose players like Tyron Smith and Tony Pollard. They are allowed to sign new ones, and I think someone probably should let them know.
Luke, we had audio yesterday of Colin Cowherd just dunking on the Carolina Panthers, said they were on a heater of being the worst team in the NFL in the past 5 years. Obviously, a lot of that is on the ownership of Dave Tepper. We're very, very close to it here. You can look at it from a 10,000-foot view. Some of the deals they made already in free agency, they paid $100 million for the guard Hunt. They've moved on from Brian Burns and got basically nothing in return, a second and a fifth. From your 10,000-foot perspective, is there anything that they've done that on the surface looks bad, but maybe was actually kind of smart?
I feel like Dan Morgan is having to make chicken salad out of chicken, you know what, and I think that is a challenge in and of itself, and a lot of that is stuff that should have been done a long time ago. Brian Burns' situation should never have gotten to this point. He should have been extended a year ago. If they weren't going to extend him, they should have traded him for what I think we heard at the time was multiple first-round picks were on the table, and they didn't want to do it. And again, whether you want to track that to, Tepper or Fitterer or anybody, whoever was involved in making those decisions, even trading up to one and taking Bryce Young instead of CJ Stroud. I know there's a lot of hindsight there, but clearly some misses. And so for Dan Morgan and the new management to kind of find themselves where they are, if they're not going to extend Brian Burns and you have to just get whatever you can for him, this is what happens. You're not going to get a first-round pick. You're going to get the best you can. And if you don't want to pay a 25-year-old elite pass rusher what he's worth, someone else will definitely do that. And just getting a second and a fifth is not great. Helps them a little bit in terms of not having a first-round pick this year. But it just hurts to see. It hurts to see him leave. It hurts to see them lose Frankie Louvu and Jeremy Chin, two more key parts of that defense. Dante Jackson was traded away. That part, it hurts just as much as the flip side of things, which is when you're the worst team in the league, you're going to have to overpay to get marquee free agents to come play for you. You have the cap space, but you don't have the quality of the team. And so you're going to have to pay a premium to get players to come play for you. And that's what you see with the deals they've made along the offensive line. I don't know that there's a good way that Dan Morgan and those guys could have salvaged what they kind of entered into. But this is the reaping the fruits of things that were sown a year or so ago, if not longer. And there's nowhere to go but up. And sometimes you have to start by biting the bullet, doing things you don't necessarily want to do, and overpaying for guys because that's the only way to get them in the building.
Luke, could I get from you a letter grade for 3 different quarterback moves? Kirk Cousins, 4 years, $180. Russell Wilson to Pittsburgh, 1 year, $1.2 million. Sam Darnold, Minnesota Vikings, 1 year, $8 to $10 million. What are your letter grades for those transactions?
I'll give Kirk Cousins a B just because I know that Atlanta needed a massive upgrade at that position. And I think if you look at the consistency with which he's played and produced, you can complain about the lack of playoff success or what have you. I'm not much of a QB wins guy. But obviously the production is there wherever he's been. I think the biggest concern for me, the reason I wouldn't make it an A, because again, you have to pay for quarterbacks in this league. That's the way it is. And so $45 million a year is probably a going rate at this point for a really good quarterback. And I think Kirk Cousins is, but he's going to be 36 years old and he's coming off a torn Achilles. So I think that weighs it down a little bit for me. I think it's a huge upgrade for them over what they had last year. And he's definitely an experienced quarterback that can finally take advantage, hopefully, of those weapons that they've had in Atlanta. But the age and the risk factor, in addition to how much they're paying for him, I do think there's some steep risk there. And I think it could bite them if he's not able to return to the player he was before that type of injury. Russell Wilson, I think, is an A. I don't think there's any way to slice the fact that Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph weren't going to cut it. And when you get a chance to add Russ, he definitely wasn't Seattle Russ in Denver, but I also don't think that was all his fault. And so when somebody else is picking up 90% of the tab and paying $30-40 million for a guy that you're only going to have to pay $1 or $2 million for, and you're bringing in a guy who has produced at the level he has, I think that's a no-lose scenario for Pittsburgh. I really think that can't go wrong for them with what they're paying. And Sam Darnold, he's a placeholder. I think Minnesota is going to be heavily involved in trying to move up in this draft in the first round to get one of those top 4 quarterbacks. I think JJ McCarthy's probably in that group now of guys that they would want to move up for. I think Darnold is a decent placeholder for now. I think he's got a really good agent if he's coming away with $10 million for that 1 year deal compared to some of the other deals we've seen, and what he has or has not accomplished. But it gets somebody in the building. If you look at what they had outside of that on the roster, it makes sense that they have something in place. But I view that as nothing more than a veteran to have in place because they're planning on making a move to go up and get a quarterback high in this draft.
Luke, as you look around and look at just how many players are still available on the board, I look position group by position group, and most of them have half or more of these guys already have moves already made. But then I look at the offensive tackle position, and this is on Pro Football Focus. Such a small percentage of the offensive tackles have made moves thus far. It looks like maybe 3 out of 20 or so guys. Can you explain why a position as important as offensive tackle, nobody's making deals for these guys yet?
I can explain it, and it's because I think about 8 offensive tackles are going to go in the first round of the draft here in about a month and a half. And I think the receiver market is being impacted by that as well. You've got one of the deepest receiver classes and one of the deepest offensive line classes, particularly at tackle, that we've seen in a long, long time. And I think teams are willing to wait and be patient and not have to overpay and pay top dollar for those tackles, because they'd rather wait and see if they can get a bargain on the veteran. And if not, they know they'll be able to get a really, really good prospect, even not in the first round, but maybe even in the second round. I think that has a lot to do with that.
Luke, going by what you know of Caleb Williams, okay, if we were to look in the crystal ball 10 years from now, are the Chicago Bears better keeping Justin Fields and getting 3 first-round picks, building around him, or are they better not having all of that depth of talent around Justin Fields and starting fresh with Caleb Williams? What does your 10-year crystal ball tell you on that move?
I think the 10-year crystal ball it would be a nice thing to have, because there are pros and cons to both of those routes. And I think at the end of the day, who do I think is the better quarterback? I think Caleb Williams is the better quarterback. And so that has to start it for me. Draft picks are fun, and it's nice to have a lot of them, but they only matter if you hit on them. And even if you hit on them and you don't have the right quarterback, it rarely matters. And so depending on the positions that you're drafting. So, the Bears don't have a second-round pick, but they've got another top 10 pick at 9. They can easily move back from that pick and try to recoup some picks. Obviously, wouldn't get you nearly as much as you would for coming off of that first pick. But Caleb Williams is also going to be on a rookie contract for the next 5 years again, as opposed to Fields, who's going to be in the last year of his deal and need a new one if he works out. So financially, you're free to kind of replace some of those draft picks you're not getting with free agents if you need to, because you'll have more cap space. So there are pros and cons on both sides, which is why I come down on who's the better quarterback to me. And even though I was as high as anybody on Justin Fields coming out, I still think Caleb Williams gives them a little bit more juice, a little bit more upside, and that's why I'd have to side with that.
Luke Easterling, Athlon Sports, joins us on the show. Luke, who's the worst owner in the NFL? Base that on decision-making, culture building, whatever else you might want to put in as a criteria.
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and pick the guy who threw a drink on a fan.
Wait. Realize where you're broadcasting from here, Luke. Okay, I mean, very careful.
You asked the question. I'm going to try to answer it as kindly as possible. You're setting me up, and I appreciate that. But come on, I mean, you've got to allow for some stability. If you look at the track record of decision making, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm not much of a soccer fan, but I've been told that this has happened with some of the soccer decisions too, in terms of coaching and making quick decisions and moving on from guys. I feel like there's been many questionable personnel decisions up to this point. And again, if you're in a position to where you're not able to even hold your composure when fans are bothering you, and you're not able to kind of constrain yourself there, that there's some work to be done there. And I think that sets a fairly low bar. I feel like there's a few owners out there that need to make some improvements, but especially with the changeover in Washington, which hopefully will be a positive one. That would have been a contender here. But I'm well aware of where these airwaves are. But that moment in particular is just inexcusable. That type of behavior, you can't do that. I know he's made that clear that he's aware of that, but that's the kind of stuff that time and experience and proving that that's not going to happen again. That's the only thing that'll fix that.
Luke Easterling joining us here at Athlon Sports, right here on the Fan Upstate. Luke, it was this month last year where on a random Friday, Carolina shocked the world by trading up for Bryce Young. What team do you think is threatening to make a similar shocker this year in the NFL draft, and what player do you think they're targeting?
I think, again, I mentioned Minnesota earlier.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put that past them, not just to move up for maybe McCarthy in the top 5, but if they really want one of the other guys, if they want to move up in the top 3 for Jaden Daniels or Drake May, I think they would do that. And I would put Denver. And again, I know they don't have as much capital because they've already blown it all on their head coach and the quarterback they just cut. But that's not going to stop them from doing it again to try to finally fix the quarterback situation. And so if Denver figures out that one of those top 3 or 4 guys is somebody they have to move up, because they're at 12, right? Minnesota 11, Denver at 12, even Vegas at 13. All 3 of those teams have not solidified their long-term quarterback situation. And all 3 could be bold enough to move up the board for one of those quarterbacks.
Luke, I'll ask a question of you that I asked of our guest yesterday. How concerned are you if you were the Chicago Bears, that Caleb Williams has basically, I don't know, sat on his couch and played with his dog thus far. You know, he's refused to perform at the combine. He hasn't submitted his medicals to half of the league. Among other things, he won't come into the Chicago Bears building to meet with them until after his pro day. You know, individually, maybe each of those things is not necessarily that concerning. But to me, I look at the whole and say, here's a guy that, does he really want to be in this league? Does he really want to do everything he needs to do to be the number one pick and then be the best quarterback he can be?
You know, I think honestly, I could easily devil's advocate that and say, what has he not done that is actually necessary to answer that question and to prove that he's doing that? I mean, we could say all the same things about Marvin Harrison Jr., but nobody does. You know, I mean, because he plays wide receiver, and I get that, but Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't even train for the combine at all. He's not training in the offseason. He's not interested in a pro day workout. He's training for his rookie season, trying to train to be ready to play football in July and August and beyond, and not to run, you know, a 4.34 instead of a 4.46. And I think with Caleb Williams, all the things you just mentioned is him realizing it's, you know, I'm 99% going to be the number one overall pick. I'm going to focus my energies where they are most useful. And I'm sure, you know, again, making it seem like he's not working out or not training. I know he's not doing the combine, but that doesn't mean he's not preparing. I feel like a lot of that, it makes for good topics to talk about, but I feel like the actual football impact of those decisions that he's making this offseason won't even have a detrimental effect. But I feel like, if anything, choosing not to focus on the Underwear Olympics, choosing not to focus on kind of trying to do all these dog and pony show type things that don't really have anything to do with how well you play football once the bullets start flying, I feel like might even have a positive impact. And maybe he's focused on just the football and just the fact that when it comes time for training camp and week one, he'll have focused on the right things and not worried about impressing all 32 teams, but really just making sure he's ready for the one that he knows is probably going to take him.
Luke, you'd be making a smart bet not to pick the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl next year. Then again, the field is always a smart bet over anybody. But if I'm asking you to narrow it down, Luke, and give me the team that you feel is best equipped to prevent a Kansas City Chiefs three-peat, who is that outfit?
I mean, there are so many teams in the AFC that could do it. I feel like Cincinnati is going to be up there if Joe Burrow can stay healthy again, because they've had success against Kansas City in general and also in the playoffs. I'm interested to see how Philly bounces back and the mentality they have. I really like Detroit. I think the culture that Dan Campbell has built there, the roster that they've built with Brad Holmes, the general manager there, I really like the Lions. I think that's not a flash in the pan what we saw from them last year. I think they're going to be back. I know it's hard to do, but I think they're built for sustained success. And honestly, I think the Eagles have shown enough weakness in their armor, and I feel like the 49ers might have missed their window to the point where Detroit could easily kind of overtake both those teams as the favorite in the NFC, and all you got to do is get in the dance. And the way they play football, it's not they don't play like a dome team, if that makes sense. I mean, they play the type of football that can win football games in December and January, and I feel like that's what gives me the most confidence that a team like that can go deep.
Luke Easterling joining us here on Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. What becomes of T. Higgins, franchised by the Cincinnati Bengals? Luke, wants to be traded. In your experience, do teams most often kowtow to a guy like that and his demands?
I think we've seen examples of it before, but the Cincinnati Bengals are not that team. They have proven in the past that they are not the ones to kind of give in to those types of demands. And also, we mentioned it earlier, the wide receiver class in the draft is the worst thing that could have possibly happened to T. Higgins this offseason, because, teams that will look at the opportunity to pay multiple first-round picks just for the right to give him a massive contract extension will look at that versus just spending a first-round pick this year on one of any number of, fantastic wide receiver prospects that we have in this class. And they'll probably choose that and have that guy on a rookie deal for the next 4 to 5 years instead of spending 2 first-round picks just to break the bank for Higgins. I think all of those factors are working against him getting what he wants, either from Cincinnati or somewhere else. I don't know where that goes. I don't know if he, if they're going to hold on to him as long as possible, if he's going to have to hold out to get what he wants. I don't know. But again, the fact that Cincinnati has proven in the past it's not something they usually do in terms of trade demands, and the fact that this receiver class is so deep really makes it hard for me to think he's going to end up where he wants to be anytime soon.
Luke, a point could be made. The quarterback position with the rule changes have become overvalued, and we've seen that reflected in contracts. Same could be said on the opposite end of the spectrum for the running back position. Could you see, and everyone always says, Luke, it's cyclical, right? It's cyclical. Well, now the best running backs in the league make $12 million a year, and that's it. Could you see a tweak to the rules or some sort of cyclical change that could bring back the running back position to the forefront?
No, I don't.
Wow.
I don't think it's going to be cyclical in that way. And I think that about the quarterbacks too. I think that the best quarterbacks are going to continue to reset the bar, and everybody who is chasing the best quarterbacks is going to continue to overpay for the ones who aren't. And some of them are still going to get, their money's worth to a certain extent. There's still going to be those, 10 to 15th, paid quarterbacks that play well enough to be like, okay, I didn't, it wasn't a huge bust here. But there's going to be some real bad cautionary tales. There's going to be some risky moves that don't pan out. Deshaun Watson and those types of moves where it just doesn't work out and you swung big and missed. And there's still going to be the Brock Purdy effect, right? Where it's like, yeah, sure, I would love to find a gem late in the draft that I get on a rookie contract for 4 or 5 years and try to win a Super Bowl by building around that guy. But that window is very small, and you're just so unlikely to find that guy without spending a first-round pick. And so I feel like the value of quarterbacks isn't going to change anytime soon. And the value of the running backs, I feel like, is just always going to be – the NFL teams are always going to look at it as I can get a guy who's good enough for cheaper, and I don't need a superstar at that position to break the bank for in order for us to be a championship football team. And I think that's what will keep both of those positions kind of moving in the same directions they are now, or at least staying where they are.
Luke Easterling covers the draft, free agency, NFL, college football, all for Athlon Sports. Follow him on Twitter at the same name, Luke Easterling, L-I-N-G. Great to catch up with you, pal. Thank you so much for all you do for us.
Hey, my pleasure, guys. Enjoy this week.
All right, take care. Luke Easterling, our good friend, always feels smarter after we have him on the show. Coming up next, my friends, what if we were to make our conference tournament predictions official? And what if we were to do it next with you? Here are the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides, Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Awesome to have you guys with us, man.
I wish I could let this bed music run under the entire show.
Oh, you can. I don't see why not. We've got a request to talk more Duke basketball. It is the month of March, after all. We might accept that request, Dexter. You're the #1 Duke basketball fan, which means... what, Diesel? That he's a Clemson
football fan. I texted you the other day on my way to work, and I said, lo and behold, what's in front of me? There was an SUV with a Clemson sticker in one corner of the rear windshield and a Duke sticker in the other.
This is true. Diesel did text me.
Proving that the adage is true.
He did text me this the other day. Did you send me a picture of that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Okay, yeah, you did text me that.
It's unsafe to drive with your phone.
No, yeah, that's true.
Yet all these people are doing it.
Texter says, piggybacking on our topic in the last hour, get rid of something South Carolina related. Anything you'd like. I want to get rid of the new South Carolina insurance laws for businesses that serve alcohol, music venues, bars.
Yeah, it's really screwed them hard.
And restaurants across the upstate are being forced to shut down because of this. We need to end the South Carolina venue crisis and support our local community. Update me on this, Diesel. What's going
on? They changed the laws that require venues that serve alcohol to dramatically increase the amount of liability insurance that they hold. You know, there's a lot of, you can sue now if a bar overserves a patron and they go out and they get into an accident and seriously injure or kill somebody. I would have to assume that that's part of where that law came from, among other things. But basically, the venue that you used to like to go to, let's say a concert venue, whereas before they could hold X amount of insurance, now they got to hold way more than that, which means their insurance premiums are going way up, which means they can't afford insurance, which means they can't operate.
Well, that sucks.
It really has hurt a lot of venues. I know that was one of the main reasons why Smiley's Acoustic Cafe in downtown Greenville closed, because of the insurance issues. There have been other venues as well that have closed because of the insurance issues. And a lot of people they're trying awfully hard to fight this, but I just don't know if they're getting anywhere with their fights.
That might be the best submission we've had, Texter. Thank you so much for sending it. Texter says to me, Mark, Myrtle Beach, you wanted to eliminate it, get rid of it. Myrtle Beach is the best. The best at what, Texter? Best at what, exactly? They're even bringing the world's strongest man competition to Myrtle Beach this year in May. I'm doing a little twirl my finger around. Woo! World's strongest man in Myrtle Beach in May, yeah.
Myrtle Beach proper, like actual Myrtle Beach, sucks. Let's be real. Actual Myrtle Beach sucks. It's the beaches just north of it, North Myrtle, Cherry Grove. I think you go up any farther than that, you're in North Carolina. I don't know the names of the beaches that are south of Myrtle Beach. Like, I grew up going to Myrtle Beach all the time, but we didn't go to Myrtle Beach. That's where all the timeshare crappy hotels are. That's where the pavilion is. It's where it's super, super touristy. It sucks. You have to get out of Myrtle Beach. But see, people lump all that in together as Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
But there are great golf courses around there, but they're not in Myrtle Beach. There's great nightlife in there, but it's not in Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach proper sucks. Like, you walk around there, you might get a hermit crab stuck in your foot. An infected hermit crab.
Diesel, believe you me, Diesel, I've been on the wrong end of a lot of these texts. I'll let you read the most recent one, okay? I'll let you I've been on the wrong end of a lot of these, but today I'm not, Diesel. Today I'm not. What did the texter say?
Texter says, Mark, something we need to get rid of is Diesel. We need a better sidekick to Mark Ryan.
Oh, my God. Oh, okay.
I'll have you know that I'm the best they can afford.
Listen, I'm not going to comment anything more on that. I'm not going to comment anything more on that. Check out Ocean Isle, a texter says. Guys, what do you say, before we get ourselves in trouble here, that we shift gears to talking about our ACC and SEC tournament predictions, basketball tournament predictions. Now, Clemson finds themselves not in a great spot, if I'm honest with you. They're in the 6th seed. They did not get the double bye. 4 seeds did get the double bye. It's crazy to me that, Clemson isn't the 3 seed behind North Carolina and Duke. That just, it blows my mind that Clemson didn't secure the 3 seed in this league. There's only 3 locks in the ACC, and you are one of them, right? You are one of them, but Virginia finished 2 games better. Pitt finished 1 game better. If Clemson had beaten Wake Forest at the end of the season there, and Wake Forest tied Clemson and finished ahead of them in the tiebreaker, if Clemson had just won that last game against Wake, they get the 4 seed, they get the double bye. But be that as it may, as they got to play tonight. They got to play tonight against Boston College, who, it's a winnable game for BC. They're not pathetic. They were 8-12 in ACC play, 18-14 overall. But, when you've seen Clemson really kind of control the game against Pitt, and Pitt gets a top 4 seed, you got to be really disappointed if you're a Clemson fan that you find yourself in this position. Clemson gets Boston College tonight. All right? Boston College tonight. Winner gets 3 seed Virginia. Virginia has won at Clemson already earlier this year. But does Clemson have to prove something to prove now? Also, the winner of 10 seed NC State and 7 seed Syracuse is going to get Duke. Right now, we've got Notre Dame and Wake Forest going on. Wake Forest up by 12 in that one. The winner of this game is going to get 4-seed Pitt, another winnable game for Wake Forest. Then we've got Florida State pounded Virginia Tech today. Florida State, the 9 seed, gets number 1 seed North Carolina. All right, so let's go through this. I think North Carolina beats Florida State. I'm going to go because Pitt has just been sitting here resting. I'm going to say Pitt gets by Wake Forest. That gives me one half of the bracket. That's North Carolina and Pitt in the semifinal. I'm going to go Clemson gets by Boston College. I'm going to go Syracuse gets by NC State. Duke gets by Syracuse. Clemson over Virginia. All right, so we've got North Carolina, Pitt, Duke, and Clemson. North Carolina gets by Pitt. North Carolina goes to the championship game. The ACC, guys, maybe what we're seeing here is the SEC money really lifting up the SEC football money, really lifting up the SEC basketball conference. But, like the ACC is not a top conference this year. 3 guaranteed berths. I mean, like you guys are living on yesterday. I think North Carolina goes to the conference championship game. They will face, in my opinion, the Duke Blue Devils, because Duke will play Clemson in the semifinal. Duke will beat Clemson in the semifinal. And I think Kyle Filipowski and company, especially with what they just went through, having North Carolina beat them on their own home court, I think Duke gets the better of them this time around. You know, I was watching that game, and I saw areas of opportunity for Duke, and that was just one of those games where they didn't capitalize. You know, they were one half step slow, seemingly the entire game. I like Duke to beat UNC in the ACC championship game, but Clemson wins tonight, beats Virginia, gets to the semifinal before bowing out. That's how I see it, Diesel. Clemson goes to the semifinal. Duke wins. Duke, North Carolina. I know this is not unpredictable. It's
very chalky.
Right, very chalky. I get it. I can't go different than that, though.
No, I see Duke winning this conference overall. They've got the biggest and best stars in the league. I think they're the most complete team in the ACC this year, which is a shallow league. So I'm going to go Duke wins this whole thing. I appreciate there's a lot of texters coming to my defense. I love this, man. I love it when somebody throws a grenade your way. There's always 10 people ready to lob one right back.
Yep.
The texter who said we have to get rid of Diesel. Talk more. Let's see. We have to get rid of Diesel. We need better sidekicks to Mark Ryan. Texter says, how dare them? Diesel is the best. I thank you so much. We got JD who says them's fighting words, and y'all don't want this smoke.
That's right. You don't want that smoke, man. You don't. Michigan J. Todd says he will save Diesel from being removed from the show.
Yes.
Until he settles up his unpaid debts. Diesel, you will do the right thing if you know what is good for you.
What do I owe you, Texter?
Warned. You have been warned.
Michigan J. Todd, we didn't bet on anything.
What do you owe him, Texter?
We didn't gamble.
Yeah. Texter says, Mark, chill. Clemson hasn't beaten Virginia in a minute. Okay, but they're going to beat them now. Couldn't win the games we were supposed to win. And a Clemson fan dropped Clemsoning. How about that? Surfside, Garden City, and Murrells Inlet is south of Myrtle Beach, I think, right? How dare them? Diesel is the best, Texter says.
Thank you.
There you go. There you go, indeed. SEC tournament, guys. What do we see happening? You guys know I'm a Gator fan. I like the draw for Florida. Why? Because they're not on Tennessee's side of the bracket. I hate that Florida gets the 6th seed. Florida right now could have the same seed in the SEC tournament that they do in the NCAA tournament. 6-6. Florida is going to get the winner of Georgia and Missouri. That's going to be Georgia. Florida is then going to face Georgia in the 6-11 matchup. Georgia's 6-12 in the SEC. It won't be easy. Nothing's easy for the Gators. They'll get by Georgia. Then they'll take on Alabama. Florida just last week destroyed Alabama. I have a hard time believing you can beat a team that badly and not have figured something out about them that's replicatable. Okay. On the other, above Florida in the bracket, you've got 10-seed Ole Miss against 7-seed Texas A&M. Winner takes on Kentucky. It'll be A&M. Kentucky will beat A&M. It'll be Kentucky and Florida in the semifinal. And Florida's beaten Kentucky this year, but not this time. The Wildcats, John Calipari and company, playing their best basketball. South Carolina just misses out on the double bye. They get the winner of Arkansas Vanderbilt. That'll be Arkansas. South Carolina will beat Arkansas, and they'll advance to take on 4-seeded Auburn. Mississippi State, LSU, the 8 seed, Mississippi State, the 9 seed, will face Tennessee. That'll be LSU, and Tennessee will beat LSU with no problem. So we've got Tennessee advancing to the semifinal against the winner of Auburn versus South Carolina, which is going to be the Gamecocks. The Gamecocks, my friend, over Auburn. Yes, I know they lost by 40, a 40 spot to Auburn earlier this year. Worst game of the year. Revenge on their mind. Different team now. I've got a semifinal of Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, and South Carolina. I've got Kentucky getting by Florida, Tennessee getting by South Carolina. Again, that win by Tennessee was a little bit demoralizing for me. It was like Tennessee led the whole way. South Carolina made it a game late, but it was on their home court. Neutral court, I don't see it. Tennessee, too much talent. Dalton Knecht is now a projected top 5 pick in the NBA draft. Give me a Tennessee-Kentucky final. Give me Tennessee getting revenge for Kentucky winning on their home court. So I've got Tennessee winning the SEC tournament. I've got Duke winning the ACC tournament. There are, my friends, my ACC and SEC tournament picks.
Yeah, Alabama's been a little shaky down the stretch over the past couple of days, so I'm gonna put Florida past Alabama. This is not me sucking up to the host so that he'll read the 4th text down from the top right now. Kentucky, I think, has also been playing a little bit shaky. I see Kentucky making their way past Florida. Then I've got Tennessee, and sorry, Gamecock fans, I've got Auburn taking you to the woodshed again in that tournament. That would have Tennessee, Auburn. Tennessee's playing better basketball than them right now. Tennessee, and I hate to say this, man, I hate to do chalk. I hate to go chalk. Tennessee and Kentucky in the finals. Toss-up game, but I'm really going Tennessee on this one.
Texter says Diesel may be better than Mark. Texter, beauty's in the eye. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Texter says Diesel, a 14-year-old is smarter than you, and I know because that's me. Well, that can't be you, Texter, because you don't even know how to spell Diesel. Okay? You don't even know how to spell it. So why don't you learn how to spell and then come back to it,
He also
sir?
misspelled your name.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. How about that? How about that? Texter says, by the way, guys, it seems like we're playing nice, okay? As long as it seems like we're playing nice, I'll play nice, okay? It feels like we're having fun with this. Texter says, UNC has owned Duke 5 of the last 6 games. Clemson hasn't lost a grudge match this season. Will beat Duke if they play again, so says Jeff. Jeff, man, that'd be great to see, wouldn't it? Tournament play starts tonight, Clemson, Boston College, and we are going to give you some insight you will get nowhere else about the best draftable positions in the NFL. That's next. This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Great to be with you guys. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Awesome to have you guys with us. Could not do it without you. So, guys, I've been researching some really interesting stuff on the NFL draft. I want you guys, I'm going to give you 60 seconds here to get your guess in, okay? If you want to draft the position in the first round that has the lowest bust rate, okay? What position on a football field, if you draft that position in the first round, has the lowest potential for being a bust, All right. In other words, the greatest success potential. What position is that? That's the question for you right now. You can give me an abbreviation, right? You could give me like a CB or QB or RB or TE or whatever it is you want to get. But that's the question for you. What position hits the most? All right. Which all the while will tell us which positions do not. What are the all-time best and worst picks you could make based on the position? Guesses are coming in. Texter says the best hit rate for a position is an offensive lineman. Best hit rate for a position in the sport. Well, my friends, here you go. The safest first-round pick you could make by position is JD in Simpsonville. Nailed it. Offensive lineman. All right. The hit rate on offensive linemen taken in the first round is 83%. Second place, linebacker, 70%. Third place, tight end, 67%. Those are hit rates, right? So a first round tight end only has a 33% bust rate. How about that? How about that? We have gone through this and charted it as well, and it stands through the test of time.
Why the hell is anybody drafting quarterbacks in the first round?
Exactly. I mean, it's
fish in a barrel.
Desperation, man. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Tight ends have a pretty reasonable chance of turning out in most rounds that you select them. Most rounds, tight ends have a good hit rate. A tight end you draft in the second round has a 50% hit rate. Tight end you draft in the third round has a 39% hit rate. That is better than other positions. A quarterback selected in the second round, 27% hit rate, Diesel. Third round, 17% hit rate. Fourth round, 8% hit rate. Fifth round, 0% hit rate for a fifth-round quarterback. The scouting is so significant that you're not really missing at that point. QBs seem to be first-round or bust, with the exception of Tom Brady. Okay, you're likely to have just the same success, just as much success drafting a wide receiver in round 2, 49% success rate, as you do in round 1, 51% success rate. How about that? And O-linemen in the first 4 rounds are a very, very, very safe bet. Very safe bet. And then the final conclusion, and this is why you are seeing the running back position fall on hard times. Running backs are a dime a dozen. So you might as well have a committee. And it doesn't really matter where you draft them. Doesn't really matter where you draft them. That's the problem for the running back position, man. And that's brutal. It's just tough to see. Hit rates by position, folks. As we said, offensive line, first round, 83% hit rate. Linebacker, 70%. Tight end, 67%. Defensive back in the first round, 64%. Wide receiver, 58%. Running back, 56%. Defensive line, 52%. Quarterback, 42%. First round. Yet we see it every single year. Why do teams do that deal with the devil? Why do they do it? Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. By the way, highest hit rate per round. Offensive linemen, they're number 1 in round 1. They're also number 1 in round 2. 70% hit rate for second-round offensive linemen. Who's got the best hit rate in round 3? Offensive linemen, again, 40% hit rate. Best hit rate in round 4, defensive linemen, 37%. Tight ends are your best fifth-round pick in terms of hit rate, 32%. Only position at 20% or higher in the fifth round. Sixth round, tight ends hit 26% of the time. And in the seventh round, well, come on, man. What do you got there? It's the clearance aisle. Defensive backs, 11%, your best hit rate right there. So we always try, folks, to give you something each and every show that makes you smarter. Maybe like you could ask an NFL GM this question. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't have these answers. But now, my friends, you most certainly do. You want to take a big gamble? Take an offensive lineman. Take a quarterback. You want to play it safe? Take an offensive lineman. You're very likely to get the kind of player that you expect to be getting. All right, my friends, coming up next on the show, we have got our top 5 at 5 on the flip side of the show that gives you both sides. Offsides, Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Thrilled to have you guys with us. You can take part in the show by hitting us on the Renewal by Anderson fan phone. That's 844-326-3663. And the text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. All right, my friends, it is time for us to do that jam. We call it the top 5 at 5, the top 5 biggest sports stories of the day, the top 5 topics we're discussing. Ladies and gentlemen of the Upstate, Offsiders, the top 5 at 5 starts right now.
And now, the top 5 at 5.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hit it.
5.
All right, my friends, best and worst deals that you have seen thus far in free agency. You know, I'm not trying to do the same lead topic 2 days in a row, but guys, why is it that every single move the Carolina Panthers makes, the other team gets the better end of the deal? Every single move, right? Ian Rappaport said the guard Carolina signed, Robert Hunt, the best guard on the market, best guard on the market, right? Was expected to be paid as the best guard on the market. But he said never did he hear anyone offering $20 million a year. So because the Panthers have stunk, they now have to overpay for people. They didn't get good value there. Then they trade Dante Jackson for Deontay Johnson. Try not to mix those names up. Who wins that trade? According to CBS Sports, Pittsburgh gets an A and Carolina gets a B. Come on, man. Does Carolina ever win in anything they do? Why? Why does Pittsburgh get a better grade? Because Dante Jackson is a starter. Deontay Johnson is a rotational player. Also, because that wasn't enough, Carolina gives Pittsburgh the 178th pick in the draft. Pittsburgh gives Carolina pick number 240. I'm not going to say, guys, that Carolina has had the very, very worst deals that I've seen throughout free agency. I think Kirk Cousins, Atlanta, $45 million a year for a guy who's 36 is a little redonkulous, if I'm honest with you. I think Sam Darnold is going to put up very similar numbers for Minnesota at a fraction of the cost.
That dude has tripped and fallen into a pile of cash far too many times.
Yeah. I love the Derrick Henry signing by Baltimore. I think that could be the one that puts them over the top. Like Saquon Barkley going to the Philadelphia Eagles. If we're talking weapons, who has better weapons than Philadelphia does? Anybody? Bueller Fry? Going to be fascinating to see what happens with T. Higgins. Odell Beckham Jr. is still out there as well. And then I love the deal the Houston Texans made to get Danielle Hunter. 2 years, $49 million. All he did, 16 and a half sacks last year. Double-digit sacks for the last 5 years. Danielle Hunter, 2 years, $49 million. That's $24.5 million a year. Brian Burns, not as good as Danielle Hunter, just got $30 million plus. How about that? What are your best and worst deals, trades in free agency thus far. Next up,
4.
and in honor of the best and worst in the NFL, we get a little segment for you today. And Diesel, if we could get the updated list here, if you've got it. We gave you a chance today, and we're still giving you the opportunity. Final list reading will be at 6 p.m. today, 1 hour from now. Gave you the opportunity to get rid of anything that is South Carolina-based that you hate. Anything South Carolina-based that you hate. I am getting rid of Myrtle Beach forever. It has no redeeming quality whatsoever. I'm also getting rid of what I call Malfunction Junction, which is a few of these exit ramps. I've got one of them right by where I live. It's the Lawrence Road I-85 North exit ramp heading to Spartanburg, where you're going onto the interstate. They give you 30 yards to get over before you're right back off the other interstate. You're right back off the exit going back home again, okay? Then, if that wasn't bad enough, you got people coming from the interstate cutting over into your lane to get off on the exit. You're trying to get over. They're trying to get over. You got it's tighter than you can imagine, and you got to try to find a way to do that in 2 seconds' time. Good luck. What are we doing? Why do we still have on-ramps for a city that contains 400,000 people when these on-ramps were built when the city contained 40 people? Make that make sense. I don't get it. Diesel, what were yours?
Number 1 on my list was oyster, steamed, grilled, fried. However you make them, they're all nasty. They are the boogers of the sea. And let's get rid of the state park fee. If I want to go, I already pay my taxes in this state. If I want to go enjoy a beautiful park, why do I got to pay you more money? It's $3 a head, $4 a head. I don't even know what it's up to now. I've stopped going because like you get there and you're like, oh, nuts. I forgot to carry cash. And they don't have any way to pay them by card or anything. So you got to turn around, drive out of there, find a gas station or something, get some cash and go back. It's stupid.
Is nuts really the word you say? Oh, nuts.
No, it's not the word I say.
I don't think
No,
that's
it's not the word I say at all.
No, I'm not believing that. Guys, anyway,
it's really hard for me not to curse on the radio. I just want you to know that.
Sometimes. Guys, you can get rid of anything that is based in South Carolina. We've had Shane Beamer's attitude jettisoned on the list today. Now you also have the chance, if you want to save something that has been kicked out, you can save it. Yeah. But you got to do so before 6 p.m. What do we got?
So here's the full list. Squatted trucks, bike week, Shane Beamer's attitude, the anti-gambling laws. I can't believe nobody said the anti-marijuana laws. That's shocked me. No one said that yet. The I-85 construction, potholes, Clemson's rock, Henry McMaster, Palmetto cheese, which is a brand of pimento cheese, the South Carolina insurance laws that have affected venues like bars, restaurants, concert halls, stuff like that. And somebody said me, I should go.
Well, there's been a whole host of people that have come to your defense, Diesel.
Thank you.
Whole host of people. Very, very, very,
sure
very
know how
good.
to make a girl feel special.
That's right. Next up,
3.
number 3, conference tournament picks. Who do you got? I have got, my friends, a semifinal in the ACC of North Carolina against Pitt. Then I've got Duke against Clemson. Clemson I have beating BC tonight and beating Virginia in the 3-6 matchup. Okay? I've got Duke beating Clemson in one semifinal, North Carolina beating Pitt in the other, and Duke getting revenge first time all year. North Carolina, Duke is your ACC tournament champion. Why? I watched the last weekend's Duke UNC game, Duke North Carolina game in its entirety. I saw so many different plays that I swear Duke normally capitalizes on. And that particular game, they were just one step short. I think they'll get them this time around. Over in the SEC, what do we see? I'm seeing a Final Four of Kentucky, Florida, Tennessee, and South Carolina. I've got the Gamecocks beating Arkansas, beating 4-seed Auburn. Yeah, I know. Auburn punked South Carolina by 40 points, 101-61 earlier in the year. I think South Carolina's had this game circled. Now they get their opportunity. Florida, guys, a week ago, Florida beat Alabama by 20. If you watched that game, and I did, you know that Florida found something against Nate Oates' bunch. I think Florida gets by Alabama, but Kentucky is playing its best ball of the year. Tennessee, as they did last week, beats South Carolina. Kentucky beats Florida. We have a rematch of a game we just saw, but this time Tennessee gets the better of Kentucky. You're the only 10 I see. Tennessee is your SEC champion. Duke is your ACC champion. And those are my conference tournament picks, ACC and SEC. Next up,
2.
How about the success rate of positions in the NFL draft? Success rate of positions. You want to have a hit in the draft. What position do you need to take in the first round? I'm so glad you asked. The position with the highest success rate, offensive line, 83%. Second best success rate, linebacker, 55%. I'm sorry, linebacker, 70%. Third best success rate, tight end, 67%. Fourth best, defensive back, 64%. Fifth best, wide receiver, 51%. Sixth best, running back, 48%. Seventh best, quarterback, 42%. Eighth best, defensive line, 40%. Best to worst in terms of the hit rate of each position. You would think the GMs would look at this. You now have information that a lot of GMs in the NFL probably are unaware of, probably don't know. So what are you going to do with that information? I'm going to make damn sure that they're not 6 quarterbacks going in round 1. I'm going to make sure that if I need help on the offensive line, I can feel comfortable knowing I'm getting help on the offensive line. All right. Wide receivers, we've also learned, are just about as likely to be successful from round 2 as they are from round 1, whereas quarterbacks seem to be first round or bust. Quarterbacks taken in the second round, 27% hit rate. Third round, 17%. Fourth round, 8%. Fifth round, 0%. 0. How about that? Draft, my friends, accordingly. And finally,
1.
So we shared this Nick Saban clip with you yesterday. Nick Saban lamenting what college football has become. We're going to do something with this, but first let's remind you of what St. Nick had to say.
All the things that I believed in for all these years, 50 years of coaching, no longer exist in college athletics. So it's always about developing players. It was always about helping people be more successful in life. My wife even said to me, we'd have all the recruits over on Sunday with their parents for breakfast. And she would always meet with the mothers and talk about how she was going to help and impact their sons and how they would be well taken care of. And she came to me, like right before I retired and said, why are we doing this? And I said, what do you mean? She said, all they care about is how much you're going to pay them. They don't care about how you're going to develop them, which is all what we've always done. So why are we doing this?
The words of one Nick Saban. Well, Scott Van Pelt, of course, had to weigh in on this last night. Here's what Scott had to say.
Naturally, the reaction to Saban's comments on social media was measured. Oh, so you get to care about money and they don't. I get the point, but keep in mind that this man is the all-time winningest coach in the sport in terms of titles, and he's working. He's a professional, so that's why he gets paid all the dough. It's fantastic that players get to make money now, but every single coach in every single revenue sport, if you're paying attention, is saying the same thing. This is the only thing that any recruit is asking about now when they come on visits. And I don't believe that it's pearl clutching to wonder if maybe that's not ideal. Maybe something about the school and your development there as a human being ought to count as part of your process and your line of thinking, because overwhelmingly these athletes are going to have to find a job which isn't football when they leave. Sure, get your money, but there's more to it.
There is more to it. And that's what people just don't seem to see. Like anyone who thinks what is going on right now in college football is good for college football is an NFL fan first, is a pro sports fan first. Those of us who are clinging to what we love about college football never want it to be the National Football League. So cut the crap. Scott Van Pelt is right. Nick Saban is right. Anyone arguing otherwise is wrong. Nick Saban is a professional. These guys are amateurs. You go to college to learn how to become a pro so that eventually when you graduate, you can make money doing what you want to do for a living. I majored in what I'm doing right now. That was my major. How about that? And those are today's top 5 at 5. Now it's your chance to chime in, which you can do at 844-FAN phone on the Renewal by Anderson fan phone. You can get to us on the text line at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan and away you go. You can hit us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube at The Fan Upstate on every one. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to us on YouTube. And finally, email. You guys can all email the show. Mark Ryan, that is MARC Ryan, at thefanupstate.com. All the different ways you can get in touch with us here on the most interactive sports radio show anywhere. That is how you can get to us, my friends, on the show today. Let's see here. So, guys, the criteria you're asking, what's the criteria for success or bust? Okay. The criteria for success or bust is a starter for half of their careers. Okay. So however long their career is, they're a starter for half of it, at least half of their careers. If you draft an offensive lineman in the first round, there's an 83% chance he's going to be a starter for at least half of his career. That is the measure of hit or bust that we have shared with you today. What do you guys make of that? Let's see here. Gamecock fan just making a joke. Mark went to college, but still isn't a pro, according to Beamer. Well, hey, Beamer, in fairness, didn't say we weren't a pro. He just said we were on the JV team.
Yeah, he didn't say you weren't a pro. He just said you were unprofessional.
Yeah, we're on the JV team, which I would ask, where was South Carolina last year? What team were they on? You know, were they playing with the big boys or not? Where has Gamecock football been the last 10 years? Playing with the big boys or not? No, I don't think so, huh? By the way, Lamont Paris is playing with the big boys. Lamont Paris is the real deal. He is him, as the kids say. And if he does what I think he's about to do in this postseason, he's about to be paid as a top 10 coach in all of college basketball, because he just might be a top 10 coach in all of college basketball. How about that? Texter says Calvin Ridley to the Titans has just been revealed. That is interesting. Mark, how about wokeism? So wokeism is what you want to kick out of South Carolina. Do you really think, guys, I've lived in a lot of places where wokeism was prevalent. I'm not going to say it's prevalent here. I'm not seeing a lot of wokeism out here, if I'm honest with you. Texter says, Mark, can we get rid of, Diesel, this is going to leave a mark. Diesel, if this happened, there would be no Carolina kickoff show with Diesel every morning.
Uh-oh.
Can we get rid of the Carolina Panthers, a texter says? They suck and have no affiliation with South Carolina. North Carolina can have them.
But we're in their logo.
Yeah, that's right. South Carolina sports fans, yet again, another example. They continue to say, don't attach us to that bag of losers. They are the North Carolina Panthers. We do not claim them at all. We do not claim them at all. So that is how they feel right there. All right, guys, coming up next on the show, I've got a challenge to issue to you. We're going to need your help on something. It is March Madness related, and we're going to need your ideas, okay? Because together we can achieve great things, and we'll do so next right here on Offsides. We are the Fan Upstate.
Stream, awesome as always. JD, early, a lot of people early in the stream. I forgot who was all here. Thanks for being around again, as always. This is great every single day, and you guys make it that way. So thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow.
Thank you guys so much, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, let me call